5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello there. How's it going?
TL, good evening.
Hello, dear boy. So straight off the bat, ladies and gentlemen, we have a thank you. TL has donated to the cause, whatever our cause is, our bullshit cause of...
Thank you so much, TL. Very kind of you.
Yes, you are bloody marvellous. We love you. Long time, forever, and a day.
I was saying to Mike, I think that you're one of our longest patrons, even when we first started. Do you remember when we first started doing it? And
back in day,
where we had the green screen background and stuff like that. I'm sure TL was still with us then. So, Stuart, hello.
Homer. Where is it?
Homer.
There it is.
That was a bit loud, but
It was quite loud.
Stuart, how are you doing?
Yes. With as much detail as you wish to go into, sir, let us know how you are.
I'm glad you're on the mend. I meant to text you actually on Sunday, but I forgot. I've just been mad busy. But I really hope you're doing well, man.
Yes, absolutely. So,
and all the rest of you as well.
Yes, whoever is out there, hello. Wonderful to have you with us. Hello,
that sounds like a kind of Jack and Ori voice, doesn't it?
Yeah. Hello there, everybody. Today, Simon is going to listen to Michael talk rubbish and then go, why am I friends with this Burke?
Do you remember like Play School and Play Away?
It was slightly before my time, but I have vague recollections of it, yes.
So you had that same, or like Jack and Ori, that same kind of, hello, how are you doing?
Yeah. Oh, yours is great, though. Yours has got a bit of extra low timbre to it. I can't quite, hello, how's it going?
But that's like when I'm recording your vocal as well. You have a massive gap in your lower register where there's no frequency.
I'm frequencyless, everyone.
You have no bottom. Rob! Evening, Rob!
Yes, I have no bottom.
Double anus, but no bottom.
It depends. If you catch me after a gig, then all of it suddenly gets filled in. Yeah, all the top range is gone, and I transfer that down and fill out the bottom range. So if ever I want to do sexy talk, that's the time.
When we were recording the thing for TL, and I was EQing your vocal, and you have like at sort of 240 hertz, like there's pretty much nothing there. It's because you're so thin. You're so thin. You don't resonate enough.
No, I'm just literally like blowing through a comb.
How's everyone's week's been? Mark, what are you drawing? Are you drawing anything at the moment?
Yeah, what are you up to, everyone?
Rob,
please
where were you playing
know.
at the weekend?
This is our casual hangout, just to chat, shoot the breeze, let us know what's going on.
So we're doing a chat one today, then?
I hope so, because we haven't prepared anything. Actually, to kick off the bat, tell me the difference, because we were just talking about this before the stream. What is the difference between a narcissist and a sociopath?
So, psychopathy. So you have psychopaths and you have sociopaths. Most people understand what a psychopath is.
Mm-hmm.
And narcissism is one facet of both of those. You could say disorders, but they're not really disorders. They're patterns of behaviour. So the key thing is, though, that a psychopath is born, a sociopath is made. So it's they tend to be people that are...
Because with psychopaths, isn't there a different in the brain, the brain makeup?
Yeah. The brain functionality is different, whereas a sociopath, they're just through behavioural pattern, repeated. A lot of people use these terms without really understanding the depth of the terms. But
Probably me.
They are clinical terms. So people bandy around narcissism and psychopath and stuff like that without really. There's so many traits that are involved in these things, but it's all about repeatable patterns of behaviour.
Because you can have you can have certain elements of narcissistic traits, but not be a narcissist.
Yeah, and also as well, everyone at some point will have some point of those traits that they would have
Is it the Dark Triad or something it's called?
That's something else.
Yeah, no, it is. Come and check out my Dark Triad. You lucky boy.
Stu says, okay, I'm home now. Yeah, thank God. What was it? He was in hospital for 11 weeks or something.
20
ridiculous.
years.
Honestly,
It must have felt like.
Poor fella, he's really been through it. Home now and feeling better each. That's so good. You've heard of Bumblefoot? Well, that might be me right now. I think I'll be known as Bigfoot.
Oh, bless you.
Have you got like a what do they call the brace things?
The big casts.
Yeah, the big sock thing. No, it's not a sock thing. The
Plaster cast.
no, you know you have.
Oh, the leg brace.
The boot.
The boot.
Yeah. Are you in the boot?
The boot of shame.
Got to start a friend's pooch this week. Oh, are you going to draw their dog? Oh, nice one. Have you drawn any of your?
Or are you a sort of like a pet umpire? So you have to fire a little side. Bang.
Dog racing.
Why not?
Yeah.
Yes. So
have you ever raced your dogs, by the way?
Only
not like a proper race, but like generally when, especially with so you've got Hoobie. Hoobie's a black lab, yeah.
Yeah.
And Orion. I mean, I don't expect that Poppy would catch up with them, but
she's pretty quick.
So who would be the faster out of the three dogs?
It used to be
Because Orion's the biggest.
He
so
is.
He's
He
got
is the
the longest
fastest
gait
now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, Hoob runs. If any of you have ever met Hoob, he had double hip dysplasia when he was young.
Poor little.
So he runs in a very unique way. It's kind of wild eyes. The face is basically going, and it's literally full on. The back legs apart, the front legs, and it's like a speed scamper.
All right.
So it's literally like, and he'll just like run around like that. It's sheer lunacy.
You kind of get that with greyhounds as well, because they have a wider gait at the back than the front, so that it's kind of like
a scooped
that, isn't
run,
it?
Yeah,
their legs kind of arch out as they're doing.
While Orion is a full-on like watching a lion run. It's just like full stretch.
Yeah,
and, yeah. So he
he's
now
a big
takes
boy
the
with
lead.
a lot of weight though as well, isn't he?
Did do Mando, but it from was it a Star Wars one? Is that Mando? Did do Mando, but not my best if I'm honest. Is that Mando?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
Are you thinking of Han Solo? And it sounds a lot like Mando.
Or am I thinking of Lando Calrissian? I did see a picture pop up. I thought it was a Star Wars one. I could be completely wrong.
Right, what are we talking about today?
Well, it's been a crazy, crazy time out there, hasn't it? Crazy time. Stuart says, I have a special boot for now as my foot is bound up like a mummy. It wouldn't fit in a trainer right now.
Oh.
Boom.
Rebecca! Hello!
Hello! You had a special boot, didn't you? When you did yourself a silly on stage?
Yeah. I was on. I was doing the what was festival? One of the festivals, and my Achilles tendon snapped. I think three songs in, 3 songs in, and my leg buckled, and I didn't fall luckily. And I thought some staging fell at me because I just had this really sharp pain and kind of feeling of water at the back of my what would you call that? Well, it's my Achilles tendon.
Yeah, I'm guessing.
And it just snapped cleanly. So what happens is you have plantar, and I can't remember what the other movement is. So your foot moves down and up, and when your Achilles tendon snaps,
it was the Mandalorian. It was Star Wars.
Oh, Mandalorian.
Yeah. Mike did a thing. He got it right.
So happy with yourself.
I think that calls for.
Disco, keep it moving. Disco, party time. Disco, on the dance floor. Disco, party time.
Glad we got that out of the way.
I feel better for that.
Where were we?
So you can't retract your foot. So I
Did you just have a floppy foot?
Yes, yeah. But the thing is, you can't stand on it because what would normally happen is as you lean on it, your tendon would hold the tension. But if it doesn't, it just literally.
Is that when in was it sort of where people say they hamstring, or if they cut the back of your, is it the Achilles tendon that they'll cut
so
to stop you from?
Yeah. You just can't stand.
Yeah.
So so I literally spent I carried on doing the gig. I didn't stop the gig. I think we were doing an hour set, and we were
So
on.
could you pass me that deodorant? I realised I've just had a shower, and as usual with Mike, let you know this. Once Mike cleans off all the week's muck or whatever it is,
The week's muck. I wash once a year whether I need it or not.
he then straight afterwards smells worse than before. Yay to have my body.
Someone was speaking to me about this the other day, and they say, like, you know, just say you've got some body odour or whatever, and you wash, and then you come out, and then, like, within a couple of minutes, you can... Is that still that smell? Like, you're still... So sometimes it can be because the smell... You have smell receptors in your nose, and they get filled with certain... You know, like, so when you smell a smell...
Dog poo.
I wasn't going to say that, but when you smell a smell... it will be pungent at first, and then it will start to die down, even if the smell's still quite apparent.
Yeah.
So, like, very often you'll find these ladies with really strong sort of perfumes and stuff like that. And the thing is that once your smell receptors get filled with that particular scent, they then stop reacting to that scent. So sometimes you can have that stuck in there. But also as well, if you come out of a shower or whatever, your body then gives off heat, but your pheromones and even though kind of normally it's the smell of bacteria, but it's flavoured by your pheromones. So you will sweat your pheromones through those pores, which are generally your kind of hairy areas.
Nicely put, sir.
Pubophile areas.
So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, please be aware that when I'm driving my van through town, I should not be able to smell you from an enclosed van. And there has been times where literally I've just been driving and I've been able to smell people's perfume from like 20 yards away in a closed van.
Also, there's all farmland around here, and just where I am, they've been spreading manure
muck.
again. Oh, God, the stink is horrible.
That'll make a man out of you.
Oh, Jesus. Rob says, no gig, went to Nearly Festival in Malden. All right. Good atmosphere, but was pretty much as the same suggests. Do you know what that festival is?
I don't know, but I'm guessing it's nearly one.
I was wondering if it might be like a tribute band thing.
I'm guessing as it is, but it says on the tin.
Becca says, Sam's graduation yesterday. Excellent. Superb.
I must have have we got a... do we actually have like a celebratory one? We don't,
no.
do we?
You've let us down, man.
Hang on. There we go. Carrie will help us out there.
Excellent. I'm so... you must be so proud. Please give Sam my best as well.
Well done, Sam. Woohoo!
He's a really lovely kid as well. Mark didn't want a common name for him, so Mando it was.
Fair dues.
So is that his puppy's called Mando then? Well, he's not. I'm sure he's not a puppy any longer.
No, he's a full... He must be a fully grown dog now, surely.
Mark says, in hindsight, I should have called him Bear. Is that? Oh, so it must be, the dog. So,
yeah.
Oh, he was such a cute pup as well.
He was beautiful.
He was cute. Right, anyway, what are we talking about?
I don't know, we're just whatever happens to be coming our way.
No, you've got to have a subject and let's talk about it. And then everyone can join in.
If you have any subjects you'd like to talk about, by the way, please throw them in our direction. We do like a curveball. It's much appreciated. Are we steering clear of politics and all that shit?
No, so you were saying there's a lot been happening. So what do you want to discuss?
Well, someone was nearly assassinated, weren't they?
They were indeed.
Is it sad to think that? And is this a sign of our times?
Yes.
That's exactly what I thought. Is it always a sign of the times?
No. So the First World War started with Franz Ferdinand being assassinated.
Not the band. I didn't realise what actually happened there. They drove to avoid a riot or a bit of a to-do in the street, and the car broke down another street, and it happened to be right in front of someone who was what's the word?
Wasn't a fan of him.
Wasn't a fan. And just took the opportunity and killed them right there and then.
Yeah, but I think they were part of a movement that was quite a militant movement. You had Ishraq Rabin in...
It's just brilliant. Why are older guys better looking? And Mark said he's a German Shepherd, 14 months now.
Oh, bless.
Okay, ladies out there, whoever is watching, it might just be you, Rebecca. But Actually, on that subject, this is something I really want to know. At what point during the maturing of a young girl to a woman does how pretty a boy's hair look become less important? Because if you listen to any young sort of teenage girl, everything is about, oh, his hair's beautiful, oh, the hair's amazing.
I would disagree with that.
Really?
I think a lot of girls will latch on to certain, I was going to say kind of dogmas, but that's not the right word. Certain kind of
we will come to your TL in a bit.
fad ideas, because I've heard a load of people, girls say, oh, he's got beautiful eyes, or oh, he's fit, or something like that. So I think it depends in what circles you're moving.
But I found generally from like when I had my pretend daughter, as I would call her age when she was growing up, and what?
Your pretend daughter? What's this?
It was a friend of mine. It was her daughter, and I was sort of like her. Basically, we were just really close, so
Right.
I'd call her my pretend daughter. Basically.
Right. Okay.
But she was, as soon as they, and her friends and everything, when they sort of started getting interested in boys, it was all talk about the hair. The
Yeah, but you
hair
see,
was the big thing.
So girls' groups are very different, and at different ages as well, to boys' groups at those same ages. So it's very much, so the commonality is that with, at that age, especially once they hit puberty and they start to notice the other sexes and stuff, they trying to fit in is very much key to being part of the group. That again, it's that social, unwritten social contract. So if one of them's going, they've read something and it says, oh, he's got great hair, or they thought some bloke had great hair, the others will mirror that, because what happens is that's part of the interpersonal skills, is you mirror that, and then that person says, you're like me, I'll accept you in. Rather than if all the girls go, oh, he's got great hair, and one of them goes, oh, I really dig his nipples, like that, they'll go, you're not with us, you know, and then you can get ostracised from the group, kind of socially speaking.
Yeah, because apparently, I think we've said this before, girls during the pubescent period suffer with a lot more negative emotion than boys do.
Yeah, but that's because that part of the brain is a lot more active, the feelings part of the brain, than with boys, because boys are having surges of testosterone. So I think it's estrogen.
Estrogen for women, isn't it?
Yeah, so you've got estrogen and estrogen.
Oh, okay.
The two chemicals, but I think it's estrogen that fires that part of the brain development, whereas boys are having spikes of testosterone, so they tend to be fired more by sexual and aggressive,
more impulsive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Rob says, tributes. Felt a bit sorry for a couple of them as a problem with sound. Oh, that's a shame. Only went with Bob Marley one. Only really went for the Bob.
Honeymooned in Jamaica, and daughter's favourite song is Three Little Birds. That's fair enough.
Are you a big lover of reggae, dude?
We talked about this, didn't we?
I find reggae just like nails down a
I
chalkboard.
can't.
It's kind of, because it doesn't really. I think I like stuff that kind of has aggression or bite or kind of angst to it. Maybe that's why I like sort of.
There's too much weed involved. Everyone's way too chilled.
It's too easy going. But I like kind of jazz and classical as well as rock, because there's a lot of great exponents of musicians. Whereas in reggae, I find it really hard going. Little M's!
Hello, darling. She says, hi guys, how are you? I watched something the other week on BBC iPlayer. It was called Uncanny. Think you guys will like it. It's all about real life hauntings.
Oh, you were talking about some haunting stuff earlier as well, weren't you?
Yeah.
So you might not know this, but do you mind if I say?
If you like.
Mike's been haunting me for many years. Mike's actually a ghost. You used to go.
I always put the willies up him in the dark.
That's the Holy Trinity. No, the Dark Trinity. No, you used to go ghost hunting.
Yeah, I know we've talked about the paranormal. And by the way, as TL said, why are older guys better looking? Age and experience, my friend. It shows through, and just people dig that.
That's very much a learnt thing. So people objectively will find younger faces more attractive because the skin's less blemished. There's I can't remember what the fats are called. The fats in the skin make it kind of plumper and rounder, and it seems to be kind of more,
Collagen.
It's collagen and something else. It's supposed to be, more
Supple.
radiant and supple, and but as skin gets older, I never look.
Unless you're you.
No, I never look
Just
in the
got
mirror.
beautiful
But
complexion.
I happened to look in the mirror yesterday, I think it was, or a couple of days back, and fuck me, Jesus.
But your skin is really smooth.
Oh, fuck off. I'm starting to, now as I get older, I'm starting to get, like, I never used to, I had one mole on my ear for all my life, and now suddenly I'm getting, look, I've got like 2 moles there, suddenly getting moles all over my fucking face.
Dude, I literally look like I'm covered in like rabbit droppings.
But you probably
I probably am.
Yes, so as you get...
So he's got really smooth skin.
Is it no, peptide.
I'm getting like starting to get the real creases in here now.
But you start. So what happens is, as
going silver here.
As your DNA gets older, it starts to, when it's supposed to rejuvenating and regenerate, there's decomposition in some of that, and that's what causes more moles, and then you start to get liver spots and stuff.
I started to get them there.
Creases and crinkles and stuff in the skin. So, but what's interesting is that it depends what you. So some people will associate a certain look with, say, an older look with money, or they'll associate it with experience, or they'll associate it with knowledge, whereas not younger, or they might associate younger with virility or higher sexual drive and stuff like that.
Something really interesting.
That can make it appear more attractive.
We'll come back to that. Neil says ska and reggae must be woefully boring for guitarists. It's just bar chord strums on the offbeat. Absolutely.
But then I really like playing like funk and stuff like that, and kind of
funk's got just a bit more feel, hasn't it, and a bit more.
Yeah, but I see. I know when I've played. So in Saviours, we do a Stevie Ray Vaughan number, "Pride and Joy," which I know everyone does. And so many drummers go, "Oh, I can't stand this song. Like, there's nothing to do." But to me, I love that, and on guitar as well, because you can sit on a groove and just really.
Yeah, but there's lots of little intricate things you can do within it.
But that thing of sitting on a groove musically, I really love that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not. Oh, Leanne!
Yeah, we got
Hello.
Leanne in. Hello, my lovely. It's been a woefully long time.
That sounds so nice when you say that. Hello, my lovely.
Hello, my lovely.
Say that to me.
Rob says, I do like a bit of reggae. Got to be in the right mood. A bit of classical too, but I don't get jazz. Respect it. Musicians do play it, but absolutely doesn't. Now,
so what kind of jazz? Because that's a broad pattern. So there's like avant-garde jazz. There's kind of big band jazz, and then you've got kind of trad jazz, and then you've got more experimental jazz, like kind of jazz fusion.
I like
and stuff.
that. Is it sort of Etta James, smoky backroom jazz kind of stuff?
Yeah, that yeah.
I like that, especially when you
so
get.
That's more kind of.
Is it bluesy jazz?
Yeah, kind of blues jazz, or I mean that used to be kind of on the edge of
juice,
like kind of on the edge of early rhythm and blues. What used to be rhythm and blues and stuff, but then that's more that kind of laid back kind of evening jazz.
Yeah, I like that kind of jazz where you can just imagine you're just sitting in a smoky club, even though smoking's bad.
But I kind of so I started playing drums very young to like big band kind of drums and stuff, and Buddy Rich and people like that. But then I got into kind of avant-garde jazz, but like jazz fusion stuff as well. Do you remember like in the mid to late 80s and early 90s? That was massive.
Name some bands.
Oh shit! You had like Steve Gadd's stuff used to be kind of like
right.
that. Coliuta. Again, I was kind of really into
it was
the drums.
it was that sort of freeform musician musos, wasn't it?
Yeah, but really kind of Chick Corea, Quincy Jones, all that kind of stuff, you know. But yeah, you know. So yeah, what kind of jazz is it that you don't like, Rob? Because that's quite interesting. TL said, I've had less trouble getting dates as I go. Oh, sir. Do man. The initial attraction is temporary and superficial. It's all about confidence and kindness. Confidence that's the really interesting thing you've hit on there as well, because people find confidence so attractive.
And it's
which is why people don't find us attractive. It's not because we look like shit.
Women just look at us and just go, move on. Jog on, lads.
Off your fuck.
But yeah, but again, confidence is one of these things that women mistake egotism and narcissism for confidence.
So
quite a
again,
lot.
like there's been lots of research with this because it's an interesting thing, and women find confidence far more up there than men will put as a kind of key thing that will attract them to women. So women, a vast majority of women will see confidence as someone who's a smart talker or
who's got the gift of the gab and all that kind
exactly.
of
That comes in with the line or whatever, and we'd probably go like that. But some women will really find that attractive. So
there was a great example of that down at the Boar's Head. There was a couple of young ladies just sitting on the couch, and there was a bunch of guys at the bar being all loud and obnoxious. And me and the two girls sort of looked at each other, and we both
just grammatically, that should always be the two girls and I.
Sorry, Adolf.
Thank you, Professor.
Yeah. There's nothing I like more than being corrected. It's my favourite thing.
Sorry, dude, go on.
That's all right. But so we sort of locked eyes, and we all sort of went, but then by a couple of hours later, she had her tongue down his throat. So again, it's that.
Did she drop a mince down there?
drop a mince down.
A mince.
Probably the way the two of them were going. But that's just interesting how by that point of the night, I'm a bit drunk. Now
no, but you see, what's key to that? If you think about the logic of this, what's actually happened is the social exception is I want to fit in, so this is so unattractive, and not this bunch, but really she found that attractive.
Yeah, that's an interesting. But I've seen this happen several times where I wonder this, where for example you have down the end of our road here, and with so many things we're missing here, like we need to get back to. But down the end of our road here, it's a dead-end road, and we get all sorts of people over the years turning up and doing various things. And one of the things you'll get cars turning up, and it'll be a couple of sort of like they're called roadmen now. They used to be called chavs in our day,
right.
Or Gary boys. But now
Gary boys.
Gary boys. He's a bit of a Gary, but now it's roadmen.
Roadmen, okay.
Sounds a bit Mad Maxy, doesn't it? But and they'll be sitting there, and the girlfriends will just be sitting in the passenger seat, just looking so bored. He's on their phone or just sitting there, just like, this is what my life is. This is what it's come to. But yet, that's what they do all the time.
So just come and park and then sit?
Yeah.
Do they talk or?
Doesn't really look like much. They'll just.
Are they waiting to get to shenanigans in the back or?
Occasionally that happens.
How long are you sitting watching?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, lads.
Oh no, I've scared the shit. I've had one of the best ones I've ever done, where you get these cars with obnoxious like twats just being really loud in the middle of the night. So I'd go out the back way into the field, and I'd go to the bushes next door, and I would scream as loud as I possibly could, and they would all just be like, "What the fuck is that?" And they would just get in the car and just drive off.
Oh, that's really good. I like
so,
that.
Yeah, there's loads of funny things.
Right,
we
missed.
we've missed quite a lot here.
Just go back, can you?
Leanne said, "Oh, yep."
Can you go back, please?
Hang on. Here we go. Right, Leanne says, "Jazz stresses me. It's so unpredictable to me. It actually makes me uncomfy."
That's really interesting. So what that suggests is that you probably like patterns and order. And because of the
joys of being on the spectrum.
Well, not necessarily
for Leanne it is.
Oh, is it? All right. But that's actually again when we're talking about what is neurodiverse and what is
and what's
conventional.
Yeah. How do you know where one sort of starts?
Exactly.
Where one
that happens with a load of people, that they just find the unpredictability of certain songs actually turns them off to it. Whereas if they hear, like, say, a trance drum and bass or a pop tune where it's
a regular rhythm.
Yeah, and it's very obvious. That's easy to predict. And also as well, there's good research that shows that if you watch a comedy, say you watch a comedy film, the first time you watch it, you might find it, 6 out of 10 funny.
Yeah.
The second time you watch it, because you know where the jokes are coming, you actually find it funnier. And that increases from 6 out of 10 to kind of 8 out of 10.
Unless you know someone who's telling you the same joke over and over again, and then it's just...
No, you've missed it.
I know.
When you're watching a film,
I'm joking.
or you're watching... It wasn't funny. So...
Story of my life.
So again, the predictability of that actually makes it funnier.
Is it because you're kind of in on the joke and you know what's coming?
Yeah, you kind of had this pre-anticipation thing, and if you know about like the utility of diminishing returns, as they refer to it in financial circles, but yeah, normally you would find it funny, and then you should decreasingly find it funny, but it actually happens the other way, and so that way,
especially
as well,
if it's Blackadder, you can't go wrong.
You know where the line is coming or anything like that.
You know,
were you ever a fan of Seinfeld?
I used to watch a bit of it.
I still love that. But yeah, same with songs as well. So you might have a favourite song or something like that, but you put it on because you know what you're going to anticipate, and then that increases the level of enjoyment rather than decrease
Homer says, avant-garde jazz does my head in.
Homer.
A man of your education and knowledge. Rob says...
I thought Homer would be there with a scroll and a feather in hand with some avant-garde jazz.
Yeah, let's go. Oh, the Kansas live album is the one I have all the time. Have you ever listened to that?
No.
Like, you think Carry On My Wayward Son was the most commercial one they ever did. You listen to any of the other stuff, it's like, oh, okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know much of Kansas.
Try the live album. Rob says, more the avant-garde style that doesn't appeal to me. If it doesn't create an emotion I can connect with, I basically zone out. I understand. Yeah. I'm pretty similar to that. I'm a sucker for a good hook or melody in a vocal, guitar, riff or lyric. Absolutely. Leanne says...
Some people are really... I know someone I know. A song with a story and stuff. They love that. They'll listen to Jim Croce or...
Jim Croce. You're not a fan?
To me, that's music to hang yourself to, or Gene Penny. But it just doesn't appeal to me. Whereas I can listen to.
Guess that it was bound to happen. Was just a matter of time, and it's come to my decision, and it's a one of the painful kind. 'Cause it seems that you wanted a martyr. Just a regular guy wouldn't do. And baby, I can't hang upon no lover's cross for you. So there.
Yeah, I hate that.
You're all a load of shit. Don't ever do that to me again.
But that kind of Bob Dylan phone.
I'm on the pavement, talking about the government.
Yeah, and people love that. Whereas, how many people can sit and listen to Sean Lane or John Petrucci's, solo work or whatever like that?
True.
But then it takes all of us, doesn't it, to make a world? It
doesn't it? Leanne says it's absolutely the tism for me. Love a pattern and predictability.
Yeah.
Like order.
You're really not alone there, actually, Leanne. So that is a popular theme with humans. We like order and we like familiar. Is massively.
There's very few human beings who
got like a bit of fluff or something on your eyelash. There you go.
That's how attentive he is, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that.
Your left nipple's itchy. Right.
Yeah. He'll sit there, he'll get a tissue and go, hang on a minute. Come here.
You got some beans on your
Yeah, I forgot to you tuck your label in.
Put your cock away.
But no, there's very few human beings who like chaos. We all like some kind of order.
I think there's
an
element of chaos that people like, but a controllable element of chaos.
Yeah, we don't like
most.
absolute chaos.
Yeah.
We still like to have some kind of order and rule, our own internal rule book to follow, because we can't have like the idea of that it's a free-for-all.
But then that's why people are interested in things like scary movies, Mad Max, and things like that, because it's a glimpse of chaos that you don't actually want to experience, but it livens, again, fear livens the most parts of your brain up. Yeah. Kip!
Hello, sexy boy! Leanne said, I love to rewatch things I enjoy and know what's coming, but if it's new, I guess what's coming. The trouble is, Leanne, you're intelligent. And intelligence just ruins life.
There's a dopamine hit for new and exciting, less for me. Yes. Yeah, but then it depends on how your brain is wired. There's dopamine hits for loads of different things, and some people get dopamine hits for the familiar. So, like for instance, with a comedy that you've seen, and then you know the joke's coming, and you have that expectancy, and then once the joke actually comes, you have a dopamine hit, even though you know the joke's coming. So, yeah.
Comedy, the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
So what we were going to say when you were talking about certain looks that are associated with certain ages.
Yeah, yeah.
You know the whole the Hollywood kind of stretched cat look when people have that has become associated with looking younger, even though it looks older.
Yeah. But then also this thing as well where people are so used to seeing pictures with filters now that they find it hard to look at themselves without filters.
That's so tragic, isn't it?
Yeah, and again, this is another topic that is starting to be researched quite a bit.
Yeah.
Because just especially for young girls between the kind of 14 to, well, I suppose getting into kind of 32 now, that age group in particular are with filters. And I'm saying girls mainly, but it's obviously, men as well. But people have to have their... these have redefined what people now associate with what is good looking and what is deemed to be popular. Again, it's a social order thing, and around the world these things are set differently.
Yeah.
So in African countries it's different to Asian countries, and Asian countries is different to Western
some countries having
Baltic
stretched
countries.
necks with loads of rings is seen as a sign of.
But that's kind of a more extreme view. But you find that in these kind of groups where something strange has happened way back, and then it's set a precedence for that then becoming believed to be that's what. So for instance, in the late Middle Ages, being seen as plump, overweight was seen as an attractive thing because
you were rich, I would have thought.
Yeah, exactly.
You can afford to get fat.
You can afford to get fat, and that was seen as a oh my sir. Yeah. And now
your pantry's full.
Oh, love my pantry's whirlpool. Yeah. Whereas, as in the 80s,
I'll give you a tenner if you use that as a chat up line.
Chat up who? Who am I going to chat up? No one. Leanne says, I wish I got them from broccoli rather than chocolate. That was for everyone.
Yeah.
TL says, I think it's against our basic instinct to enjoy fear. That's interesting. So I understand what you're saying. I think fear, this is what I would suggest anyway, TL. Fear is an uncontrollable reaction and a feeling. When we are fearful, it lights up the most parts of our brain sequentially or at the same time. So when people say that we only use 10% of our brains, it's kind of a slight misnomer. Generally, at most times when your brain's on tick over, you're using between 10 to kind of 15%. But at times when you're agitated or in fear or excitable, you then light up more parts of the brain.
Is that why for people who do like extreme sports, like
yeah, exactly, they feel more alive than they've ever felt. But also as well, so they say when you're aroused, it used to be when your heart was going quicker, your experience of time changes. But they actually describe it now, clinically, they describe that as when you're aroused. So when you're in an excitable state, your perception of time changes. Hence that the adage, which is true, that when you're having a good time, time does fly because your perception of time changes. And there's some really interesting experiments. I won't go into them now, but if you get a chance, look them up on YouTube. There's some really good experiments where they look into this.
Just Google really good experiments.
But for instance,
Simon Pinto.
One of the experiments is they had a dance troupe, and they had them doing quite a kind of very sedate kind of, and they were extremely skilled dancers. And their perception of time was that it took longer to do it than it actually took to do.
Oh, okay.
And so time seemed to drag. And then they gave them this really mad kind of dance.
So they actually asked them how much time they feel had passed.
Yeah, exactly.
Did they ask them individually?
Yes.
Was there a common thread between all of them?
Absolutely. Everyone experienced that time changed almost identically.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. And when they were doing the thing that was extremely active and they were jumping and throwing themselves left, right, centre, stuff like that, they thought, that's only taken sort of 3 minutes.
So does that
when
mean
in fact they'd been dancing for kind of 11 minutes.
So there's not really an individual element to that. It's like seems to be across the board that as human beings, we experience it in a certain half speed or double speed.
Yeah. So very often, if you're having a good gig, you kind of get to the end and you're like, I want to play another cut, but we finished the set. Our time's over.
I never get like that.
Really?
I get to the end of the gig.
I always get like that. I always get to the gig and I want to, at the end of the gig, I want to, come on, I want to carry on playing.
I'm old. I've got a home to get to. Got to get up in the morning.
I've got no fucking friends. Yeah. So I'm like, let's play another song.
Yeah, and it also depends on the gig as well.
But no, that's what I'm saying. If it's a gig you've enjoyed,
that's true.
If it's a gig where you're struggling, you'll be like, are we only on song 4? Like that,
I used to find that more when I was playing originals bands and playing shorter sets. You'd just be getting into it, and then also, oh shit, our time's done.
Again, because you're passionate about that music and you're excited. There's bits you want to get to. You want to see how the audience is going to react. All those things, and then you find that time's just run away with you.
TL says, I'll have been well popular in the Middle Ages. Rotund. You're not rotund anymore, though, dude. You
said TL Kit.
Kit, sorry.
Yeah.
Kit did the most incredible weight loss kind of health change I've known of anybody.
Is it? I've not seen Kit.
Yeah, Kit was, and he probably won't mind me saying this. He was a dangerous weight where very unhealthy, and I'm guessing you probably could have started to have some health consequences from that.
Right. And
he took up running. He lost so much weight, became extremely fit and really healthy.
How do you find running, Kit? Because I find running the most.
My time really feels like a long time
exactly.
when I'm running.
Yeah, I could be when I haven't run in God knows now, but I just find that the most depressing thing to do. Really, just doing exercise for the sake of it. I love doing sports. Like I used to love playing squash and football and stuff, especially squash. But they reckon that's probably what weakened my tendons.
I have the same problem though. If I can find, I hate doing exercise. I absolutely hate it with passion. But if I can find something I'm enjoying, like I love climbing. So like if there was a local climbing club, I would definitely go to that a lot more, and I really enjoy that kind of thing. I love it when I go out into the wilderness and actually start, climbing proper rock faces and things like that, and all that kind of stuff is really, really cool. But
why? What is it about that you like?
It's just being out in the city. It's the challenge as well of climbing.
Okay, so that's one thing. But when you get to the rock face and then you've got to start pulling yourself up, what is it that's actually feeding your excitement?
I think it's the fact of getting to the top. It's the same as when when playing computer games and you complete a level or you go up, you upgrade a character. It's the feeling of progression.
Right. So it still doesn't quite answer my question, because that would be for anything that has an achievement.
Yeah,
you're saying, right, I like a thing that has an achievement. Happy days, that's great. But there's a lot of, that's the start, that's achievement. There's a load of shit going on in the middle. So what is that bit in the middle that you enjoy? Because you have to enjoy the journey of it as well.
It's the challenge, I think. Also,
so for instance, if there was a staircase leading up to the top, or you could climb up the rock face.
I fucking hate it.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're just saying getting to the top is what you
I
enjoy.
think also
so
with,
it has to be that.
Yes. Hang on. I'll just get back
so we
to
need
that.
to go back a bit.
Yep.
So it's like David Dickinson. That'd be interesting what that is.
Hang on. Rob said, my wife has the odd sunbed. Kit says I'm aroused to listening to you talk all intellectual like. There's a low bar there. Rob says, my wife has the odd sunbed every so often to have some time away from adulting, but she often says it's mostly guys in there getting their David Dickinson. He was that. Did you ever like Bargain Hunters or whatever he was?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the glasses and
Yeah.
Didn't he die?
I thought you know what? I thought he was dead, but he was on a program the other day, and it was a recent program. And I think I actually said out loud, "Oh, I thought he was dead." So yeah.
Did all the people in the program go, "When are you dead? I thought you were dead. What are you doing here?" Kit says,
The write-up.
Play
Back
some
from the dead.
play some thrash soul. Mustang sound inside of Lawnmower Death. Knock on wood inside of Kill Switch Engage. Nice. Oh, Kill Switch could absolutely nail Knock on Wood.
There was a lady that did a version of Knock on Wood in kind of, I think it must have been the late 80s, 90s or something. Oh, I heard it on the house PA when I was playing somewhere at the weekend, and it's still such a great
I'll have
track.
to check that out. Leanne says, and yet when you crash your Leanne says, and yet when you crash your car, those seconds of impact are long. Obviously not enjoying, but certainly adrenaline-inducing. Yeah, you can sort of, as it's happening, can't you? You can really take in what is going on.
What happens there is, because again you're in a moment of danger and fear, you have the most parts of the brain lighting up, and because you have that, your perception suddenly increases. So there's actually loads of tests that have been done on this, where they've had people standing, say, in a queue for a bank, and they've put on a pretend robbery or something like that, and then they've questioned them after to see what they've noticed and how many people.
They take in a lot more detail?
Yeah, the people that feel the most alert will take in an extreme amount of detail. You know, we were speaking about this just before.
Yeah.
And if people are more scared than alert, they will take in less detail.
Oh, Kit has sent, here we go, before and after photos. So it says, show Pinto. Always dodgy when these kind of pictures come through. Yeah, how is that for a difference?
Fuck me.
And that's not him exclaiming. He's just seen that picture, and that's what he wants you to do to him.
That's amazing, Kit.
Yeah.
That really is. God bless you for that, dude.
It's incredible.
That's
really,
really. That must have taken so much hard work and effort, and good for you, dude. That's
so
amazing.
24 stone down to 24 stone down to 13 stone 9. Currently 15 and a half ish. Cured obstructive sleep apnea, type 2 diabetes.
Wow.
That's amazing. I run about 25, 30 miles a week now. I've done for the past 2 years. Just qualified as a running coach. Awesome, dude.
God, so you've really got into it. If you've got into, so it's not just been a case of doing it to improve your health. But
I hate running, but love beer and cake. So it's that. Is what you have to, if you want to enjoy that.
But you must be enjoying that, especially if you've now become a running coach. So you must have. I've got a passion for it, rather than just doing it as a.
And we promise, Liam, we won't go on for too long about running. So, one of the things we were talking about, which we can scoot back to, we were talking about ghost stuff, weren't we?
Yes.
That's always a fun one. So, we've talked about the paranormal on here before, because I've done like seances.
Yeah.
Have I talked about seances on here before?
I don't think so.
Have you ever been to a seance?
No, I haven't.
It is very, very interesting.
Right.
From a psychological
point
of view.
I've got so I explain myself. I've from very young. I've had some very weird experiences, and so I from about the age of 19, I think it was, I started. I'd go to mediums, clairvoyance, various things like that. As far as I know, not a seance. As probably as you know. But I would always go, and I would say, right, I'm going to pay you up front. I'm not going to tell you a single thing, say yes, no, or anything. I just want you to tell me anything that you've got to tell me, and if that's no good, just keep the money, and I'll walk away now, and there's no problem with that. If you're happy to stay, carry on. And I went to, I think it's the Arthur Findlay College in Stansted. They do every year. They do like not a paranormal weekend, but they kind of train clairvoyants and stuff like that. And I've been to one of those. I think I went did I go for 2 days or 1 day or something? I can't remember what it was, but that was really interesting as well. Again, and I've never kind of actively. I've always wanted to hear something or see something that can't be explained, and I've only had a couple of those experiences when I've been to. So I've seen about, I think, probably a little over 80 clairvoyants.
Yeah, you've seen a lot, haven't you?
Yeah. But and also, like, where they do these kind of open sessions where you have a person go, there's a load of people sitting there, and they go, I'm looking for a carol or whatever like that.
Yeah.
And so I would say 99% of that I've found to be completely ineffective to me.
Yeah.
Nothing I can say, that proves anything. And there's only been a couple of things where I've thought, actually, there was no way they could have possibly known that or taken a lucky guess. So
that's the one.
It could be a fluke, or it could be something else.
And we'll come back to that. Okay. Holmes says, if a group have to decide details of, say, a robbery, almost everyone will have some differences that they think they saw, colours of clothes, etc.
Yeah, that's true. But some people's perception and memory is better than other people's perception and memory.
Yeah.
But and also as well, there's I've forgotten what the effect is called. There's a psychological effect where people will also gravitate to whatever the group says, because they don't want to be ostracized. So again, the experiments that were done with that, they would have a class full of people, and everyone, the person that came in would think that they're the volunteer, when in fact they're the only volunteer and everyone else is a plant. And they would go, right, what's 2 + 2? And everyone would, is it 4? Is it 5? Is it 6? And everyone would go, it's 4. And they would start doing it. And then I would gradually start saying, right, what's 2 + 2? It's 7. And the person there would be going, no, it's 4, is it? Because everyone else said 7, they don't want to be left out. So they kind of go, well, I'll bow to what the group says, So there's that group effect thing. Right.
Kit says, I enjoy the dopamine hit from running and higher self-esteem it brings. Distracts me from me, also stops me binging on other more self-destructive behaviours. A lot of people who give up booze, drugs, bad food as they get into running, and again, that's an addictive personality thing. It's basically exchanging one addiction for a healthier addiction.
Yeah. Did you know, though, that you don't actually get a dopamine hit from running? So there's a...
Don't spoil it, for God's sake.
There's been...
Old Captain Party Pooper over here.
There's been research, I think it was the tail end of last year, that was done, and it was always believed that it was a dopamine hit that would give what they called a runner's high. But apparently it's not actually that. There's... so you get lactate to your muscles and stuff, and it's... I can't remember what the fuck it is there.
Is it the enjoyment of stopping?
No, it's a different chemical that you get, so it's not actually a dopamine high. I can't for the life of me remember it, but it's actually an interesting experiment if you get a chance to look it up. So it's not actually a dopamine high that runners get, or people say when they do exercise they get a dopamine hit. It's not a dopamine hit.
Okay, something else.
It's a fatty acid that triggers the brain to. They used to think it was endorphins as well.
There's an irony there, isn't there? You're doing exercise to lose weight, but it's a fatty acid.
Yeah, I can't remember what it is.
That gives you the hit.
It's a good saturated
Rob said, I think we missed out something there. Hang on, let's scroll back up. TL Little M said, my old bedsit was haunted and things kept falling off the units. My hi-fi unit kept switching itself on and off, and the ghost seemed to like Coronation Street as it turned every channel to it. God.
So how long ago was that, Little M's?
Yeah, and that's just what makes a haunting worse. A ghost with a bad taste in TV.
Did you ever feel uncomfortable or threatened, or did it feel comfortable? Because that's an interesting thing that people say. Some people feel threatened by it and scared. Other people feel like it's not malevolent.
Yeah. TL says, I enjoy your sexy legs, Kit. We all do. Rob says, my mum used to work nights at St. Peter's Hospital here in Malden, used to tell me about the weird things happening and ghosts all the time. Ooh, okay, we need to hear some stories.
Rob, you got to tell us some stories.
Kit says, right, that's it. I'm stopping now. Thanks, son. Right, Little M said, I never knew, but it kept me... I
never
never
knew, but it was kept
hidden
hidden from me that someone had took their life in the
okay.
They had gone to the doc for help 4 days before and got turned away. So when I moved in, no one told me.
Oh, that's shit.
Oh, that's horrible. Did you feel nervous about it? Did you feel uncomfortable, or did it feel like sometimes it can feel kind of acceptable?
Mark says, I don't do running, but started talking. Mando was loving it. I started walking, I presume, not talking. I don't exercise, I just talk at my dog. Kit says, totally buggered my knees, though, 2000. Oh, dude.
Oh.
What about, like, do you do CrossFit and things like that? Because obviously that's a lot less impactive on the knees. See, that's one of the things I would get into exercise, and I know they do it, but with VR, if you could have like I know they do certain games and things in which you do a lot of movement and you can sort of do that kind of thing. That would really intrigue me. I want to get one of those. They've brought them out, and basically they're very expensive, but they're basically like imagine like a trampette, but that is just covered in really small wheels, so that as you walk, you stay in the centre. Yeah. But so in the game, you actually like if you're running around in a game, you're that way you're running around playing Call of Duty or something, and you're actually running physically. See, that I could completely get behind.
But the problem with that is if you stop.
And I don't think it works like that. Apparently, I could be completely wrong.
Resistant.
There could be people going whang all across the wall.
But also as well, what Kit said there as well. When he had a lot of weight on, that would have put his knees under stress.
Yeah,
and so he would have already worn out a lot of that ligature mileage on his knees, and then doing kind of high impact running, especially if it was on pavement constantly, that would have then made that more vulnerable.
I know exactly what you need, Kit. Have you ever seen those they're acrobats, and they have basically these spring mounted, they're like mini stilts, but they're spring mounted. So you see people running, like bouncing and somersaulting and landing on them. Just go running in them. The amount of fun and broken ankles that you could have.
Or get like 9 pairs of flip-flops. Fix them all together and then attach that under your trainers.
Just in increasing size flip-flop, so you end up with a massive flip-flop that big at the end. That's what you need.
To absorb all the power.
See, this man here will solve all your problems, ladies and gents. M said, this was around 2004. My friends came round, could sense it too. I never felt any malice from the ghost. It was practically more of a joker, but definitely bad taste in TV shows. Samantha Sontag Dixon. Hello, Samantha.
Hello.
When my little one was 3, she would tell me about this. Now, these ones always really intrigue me. Especially like kids that would tell you something about a relative they've never met.
Yes.
That's very, very interesting. When my little one was 3 years old, she would tell me about this man standing in my bedroom doorway, touching my clothes, then standing beside me. When I asked her what he was saying, she said he can't, he hasn't got a mouth. I'm literally, Simon will vouch.
Yes.
Literally, I've just gone full on goose pimping.
You goosed up mainly.
You did. Disappeared for 9 and now she's preteen. He's back.
Oh,
wow.
That's interesting.
Okay. That's
Missy, who I share a house with, my ex, she when she was a kid, she was about, I think she's 12 years older than her younger brother, and then there's another sister that's 2 years or 3 years younger than him. So when he was a baby, her mum would always make Missy would have to keep looking after the kids, and he would go to bed. So he had his bedroom was at the back of the house, and he would say, "Oh, there's the floaty man is outside. There's the floaty man." He'd get really scared, and so they would go, "No, it's just the tree. You know, you're seeing some trees move, or whatever. Don't worry about it. It's okay." And then, 3 years later, the sister came to share the. No, she wasn't sharing the room. She was in another room, I think, but still at the back of the house. And then she said, and he had never told her about it. Never had spoken, because it was only like a kind of, it just go to sleep. You're just having a bad dream. And she said that she saw the same thing. There's a floating man outside. There's a floating man outside. It's really interesting.
That's bizarre, isn't it?
When one time Missy and I was sitting watching telly in the house when we were together as a couple in my old house, and we were both watching the telly, and a black cat just suddenly appeared in the middle of the room and just walked across the room and then just went. There's a sofa, just went straight through the sofa and wandered off.
And you both saw it?
Both saw it. We both just saw it. Like, we both watched it come through. Just watching telly in the middle of the day. Watched it and looked at each other. Said, "Did you see that?"
See, that especially when you have two people who see exactly the same thing, that to me
in the
always
house
adds much more credence.
So I was born just around the corner from my parents' house, and when we were growing up, there was all sorts of things. So I used in kind of Barnhurst, Kent, there was all sorts of things that we saw, but I saw a lot of the things with my sister rather than just on my own, you know.
So we had Leanne say, my son used to point out the red lady. That's it, we're moving. Yeah, we've had it. Oh, that's actually it's reminded me.
I've seen that series. That's really, really good. So Homer says there was a great series called Ghost Inside My Child, which was about children with ideas of previous lives. Well, what they used to talk about was their experiences of previous lives, and then they would try and research the stories, and they would find that they were describing actual people that they could find.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, some
Cleopatra,
Genghis Khan or whatever.
yeah.
It was just normal people that had lived in.
We have a moth. Hello, moth.
Why are moths so attracted by light?
I thought you just. Why are moths so attractive?
Some moths are actually.
Yeah, it's just the little fluffy faces.
Oh, cheeky.
The way their tongues coming in and
Cheeky
out.
minx.
Oh, makes me all tingly. Yeah, that reminds me.
Sorry.
I think this was my cousin that told me this. That there was she had a friend of hers who died. I think he died in a car accident, and it really. Just don't laugh.
Because ghost moth.
Ghost moth. A goth. But then after he died, I think it was one of her sons started saying that he was seeing him in the house, which was very odd. But then one day she came back in the house. I think she'd just been out the front, and she looked up the stairs and she saw, I think it was her daughter, really like a toddler, standing on top of the banister of the stairs.
Oh, fuck.
But no way you could stand and balance on it.
Yeah.
But she said it looked like there
Someone
was
was
imprints of someone holding it up there. And she said, literally, she just ran upstairs, grabbed her, ran out of the house. And they said when they got into the garden, all the lights in the house
Just
were
went
going on
mental.
and off.
Oh, I mean, how do you explain that? That's scary. That's
Yeah.
really scary.
I'll have to.
Because as a toddler, how would she have been able to get up on the banisters?
Exactly.
Banistrades.
Yeah,
I think they're called.
it terrified, really terrified her. Yeah,
Rob says the motion. Scott.
The motion sense singing Christmas tree that only sang when the ghost of the old porter was seen that night. Lifts operating by themselves, pictures flying off walls. Yeah, stuff moving is always. There was the Swan pub in Rain. I can't remember what they used to call. Supposedly someone hung themselves in one of the upstairs rooms, and they down in one of the other bars, like glasses would move and things like that. Quite a few people have reported it, so that's quite things.
So with all these things, I think she told me there was at least 10 different ghosts she saw various times over 25 years. So I've seen loads of weird things. I won't get into any of it now because it takes too long to tell the story. But
we're going to have another. Should we have another maybe next month? We'll have a paranormal chat.
So with all those experiences, does that make people think that there's something more to this life, or is it something else? It could be that time's not linear and we're seeing echoes from other times. So for instance, there's one theory that all time is frequency. So we're living in a frequency like that. And then as time moves on, it's getting quicker or whatever like that.
Stop that, you're arousing me.
So, it's getting quicker and like that. But between the gaps, if time isn't linear, in other words, it doesn't travel in a straight line, we could be seeing reflections or
echoes, as you say.
Yeah, kind of echoes. That's the best way to kind of explain
Red
it.
Dwarf, everyone. Future Echoes. Great episode.
It's a great episode. I just love
Red Dwarf. They're making apparently some new episodes.
Yeah, I read. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Could it be that there's a slice of that time that's happening in between that frequency? So that, for instance, is another theory. There's another theory that bricks and mortar can act, or stone can act as a kind of recording for energy. So in the same way as
I've heard that. Yeah, that theory.
So in the same way as silica in rocks or whatever can support energy or absorb energy or dissipate energy. It can. We're giving off through our experiences energy, and that gets trapped in the silica or whatever. That's a really bad explanation. It's actually a more interesting explanation than I've. So that there's all these kind of other ideas, theoretical, and science isn't at a level at the moment where there are any tools to be able to explore these things properly. Although we're kind of getting closer to it.
They tend to. I find as soon as this, I know, like Brian Cox just says, no, none of it's real because it doesn't fit into the physical world that we know.
Sorry, say that again.
Brian Cox, like, whenever anyone talks about ghosts or the paranormal, is like, well, it just doesn't exist. It doesn't fit into the laws of physics and everything that we know. And it's kind of.
But that's that is a problem with science. Science is ever growing.
Yeah,
and
but we tend to think what we know now
is all like in the early 1800s, famously that bloke said everything that's been invented has been invented by now, and there'll never be anything more. But the same with quantum physics. Rob's brought up quantum physics there. Quantum physics wasn't really explored or believed or even tested in the 1960s, yet by the early 2000s we had the slit experiment, and we know far more now about quantum entanglement and stuff, and we can prove quantum entanglement. There's two scientists, Hameroff and
Hammer-on.
I can't remember his name, but they have a really good theory about possible past lives, and that in that we can have.
Oh wow! There's a biggie. We'll finish with this one, I reckon. Once we
there's energy never dies. Energy just changes state or dissipates into different areas, and so they're saying with quantum entanglement, it could be that those particles that were previously entangled in somebody else, when that person dies, their experiences, some of their thoughts, some of their anguish can be trapped in a quantum particle, and so if that then goes to make up. So that then transfers into the vegetables we eat through nutrients after the body dies or whatever, and then we then ingest that. That can be those particles still, and so we can be entangled to somebody else's experience from another time, another reality.
Very interesting.
I can't remember what it.
The Vesuvius.
Can't remember something with a P. Right.
Okay. So Little M said, have you heard of time slips, as that's another theory?
Yes, Little M's time slips. So that's again, that's kind of similar to that frequency thing, but the idea is that time slips, as far as I know, anyways, from the little tiny bit that I know about it, kind of can deal more with what you were saying about your experience when you were at school. So
not soggy biscuit.
Do you want to say what that was, or is it?
Yeah. No. As far as I can recall, and I've said to Simon, I do doubt because I know sometimes that we misremember, and sometimes we craft maybe a different narrative to what actually happened. But as far as I can recall, I went into my English.
So you had a dream.
I had a dream. I had a dream. That in my English lesson, this particular girl would stand up, basically shout and get upset with the teacher and go storming out of the room. And the person I was sitting next to, I said, I dreamt last night that this is going to happen. And within the next, say, 10, 15 minutes, it actually happened. So that's what I recall.
So when I the little bit that I know about time slips, and you might be able to tell me more about that, Little Ems, is it kind of goes to explain or discuss or point more to things like deja vu, things like so there was some builders that were working. I think they were working in Somerset. I can't remember exactly where they were. And they were working in the basement of a pub, I think it was, and they were doing some building. And while they just suddenly heard like a marching and kind of as if an army. And what both these builders saw, they saw a Roman army walking through the middle of the cellar they were working in. And they described all the uniform and stuff, but they said they were walking through this cellar, but they were all they could see was kind of them from their waist up, from the floor. And it was only when they reported it and it was looked into, and they realised that the ground level that would have been around at that time would have been lower. Yeah. So that was exactly the
I've heard that.
Yeah. So again, that's kind of talking to that time slip theory.
Rob said,
a little bit that I know.
Rob said,
so
never thought I'd heard paranormal conversation delve into the realms of quantum theory. Well, that's the joy of the channel, everybody. We never quite know where it's going to go either. Right. Okay. Here we go. Kit has dropped a doozy, ladies and gentlemen.
He's given us a big one.
He's laid a cracker one. Okay. Leanne, and I presume Leanne and I were lying in bed one evening. No doubt getting up to mischief. Our old house. Oh, yeah. Our old house in Southend. The first floor landing hallway to the bedroom door was carpeted, a sound so loud I can only describe as if a bowling ball rolling very slowly down a wooden floor that got louder and louder until it sounded like someone had thrown the bowling ball at our bedroom door. Holy shit. We were alone in the house at that time, before the kids. We both experienced the same thing. It was terrifying. Same house. Leanne was also pushed down the stairs by something. She was carrying a basket of clean washing upstairs and felt somebody struck something, push her backwards. Jesus,
no, somebody or something push her backwards.
She fell top to bottom. P.S. It wasn't me. Oh, that's nasty. Yeah, that kind of shit where actual physical things happen as well. That's not. I had a story along those lines. A guy I used to know called Sean, I used to work with. Now, he was like a big biker-looking guy. So one of these people that if you ever got in a fight, the only way you could ever stop him was to knock him out, because no matter what you did to him, he would just keep getting up and he would just keep going back at people. He was sort of one of these people, he wouldn't get into a fight out of choice, but he could really handle himself. And he came into work one day and he didn't look right. And I said, "Are you all right?" And he said, "Something really weird happened to me last night." He said, "But if I tell you, don't tell anybody, and please don't laugh." And like you could see he was visibly shaken. He said, I got in yesterday, and he said, I felt someone hit me. And basically sort of like, I don't know whether like they slapped him or punched, but he felt like someone hit him and it sort of knocked him to the floor. And he got up thinking like someone there was in, and he literally kind of like ready to go and there's no one there. And he said, literally, he just stood like, and I don't know whether it happened twice, sort of in a similar, sort of on the same night, or whether it happened on separate occasions. But he said he literally stood there and just screamed at this thing and said, "Look, come on, I will fucking take you on." And nothing happened after that. But to the point of whatever it was, now you could argue, okay, maybe he had, because later on, a few years later, he had a mini stroke. So you could say, okay, maybe it was something like a physical, anomaly in the brain, or something triggered something else that caused him to lose his balance, feel like that. But, it's whatever it was scared him really, really badly.
The same house I was in with Missy when this cat walked through. And one day she was in the hallway hoovering. I think I must have been recording or doing something else. And she came up and called me and said, "Did you just come and grab me?" And I was like, "No, I've been recording here." She said, "I was just doing the hoovering," and she felt a pair of hands go like that and
"Sorry, Missy,"
and move her. And she thought I turned around, but like I thought it must be you, but like you must have run up the stairs really quickly or whatever. And I was like, "No, I've been here all this time." So many things like that happened. Like,
really? In the old house?
I told you about the thing with my mum seeing the neighbour that died in the house, or not the neighbour that died in the house, the lady that had the house previously died, and she saw her over a bed, and like she didn't know it was the thing, and then my neighbour came out and said, "Look at that picture." She went, "That's the lady I've seen." She was like, "That's the lady."
Yeah,
who used to
that's
live in
very
the house."
peculiar.
Right,
Okay.
Stuart said,
So that was Kit's one. Stuart said, it's more likely there are different dimensions. The door marked Summer by Michael Bentine discussed this recording playback theory. A plumber saw a legion of Romans marching past him. They did not look at the plumber. Yeah, so he was...
Yeah.
So like in a different...
Penrose! Rob, thank you so much. Penrose and Hammeroff, yeah.
There we go.
Thank you so much.
I suddenly thought,
Roger
hang on,
Penrose.
that's a veterinary service.
Roger Penrose and I can't remember the other guys.
Homer said, science is always changing. The James Webb Space Telescope has just taken pictures of galaxies that should not exist because they are too big for their age.
Oh, that was in the news just recently. So there's...
so we need to have a paranormal chat thing
and a
space one. Oh.
Yeah, that's fantastic, Homer. There was some pictures just recently. I think it was over last week or the week before, and it's going to change our understanding of physics. At the moment, it's open to review.
Yeah, Brian Cox, stick that in your pipe. The universe is billions and billions of galaxies.
That's a really good impression. You're really good at doing impressions. Stu says he said it looked like a playback of a past event. Yeah, exactly. So that's one of those things where they think is where you see these characters that sort of appear and then they seem to play out an event. Is that being taped or recorded or somehow absorbed into the local surroundings?
Rob said energy is never lost, just transferred from one place to another or several. I've always wondered that, even in the with an atomic bomb going off where everything is disintegrated.
So what
does
happens
energy still remain?
Yeah, that energy then changes to sound, to movement, to kinetic energy. So it only ever dissipates into a different form. So it can for instance, so you die and you contain energy, and then things will eat your body up. Bacteria will eat that up. And then that changes state. So it's just changing state.
Who was it? Somebody. I think it was a nurse that we knew, and she said that she's experienced, obviously, people dying in their last breath. And she said if you're round or touching them, she says it feels like something. And this is just her words, that something comes out of them. Yeah,
loads of people have said at the moment of death, people see like a white wisp leave. When my dad died, my sister said that's what she saw, and she wasn't aware of that before that.
Yeah.
And there was I can't remember his name now. There was a scientist in the 1800s, and he believed that we had a spirit and it had weight to it. So he did a load of experiments where people that he was on a particular hospital he had an association with, and people that were about to die would be transferred to this weighing table, and they would measure their weight just before death and then just after death. And there was, I think it was 2 pounds and something ounces or whatever, I can't remember what the exact thing is. He would find that there was a difference, but it's never been able to been validated or reproduced, but mainly because of the opportunity to be able to weigh people at the point of death.
Surely you could do it with animals. I'm not saying if you had an animal that was naturally...
But you see, the problem is some people believe that only humans have souls.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. And also as well, at the moment of death, so there's this thing that people believe that there's this wisp and that's the spirit escaping, which is a really interesting thing as well. Do we have spirits? Do we have souls?
Little M said, Google Bold Street time slip in Liverpool. Homer says,
that seems to ring a bell.
I had a recurring dream as a child on a school trip to Jersey. A couple of years later, saw the exact building that I dreamt of. That's interesting.
That's really
Stuart
interesting.
said, I've just mentioned that. Leanne, that house was awful. I don't speak about it. I'm hoping typing is okay because it comes back. I see what. Yeah, it's sometimes people, if they get back into that mindset or they start thinking about it, things then can manifest.
Also, as well, with people have said with young children, especially girls that kind of just come in 12, 13 of age, that they can sometimes be like a bright light and attract spirits and stuff.
I'm hoping time is okay when it comes back, but feeling someone sit beside you on the bed, hearing your name called from elsewhere in the house, home alone. I always felt uneasy at the top of the stairs. Just a bad, heavy feeling, lights on and off, all sorts. I've often experienced weird things throughout life, but I've tried to explain away, but never felt a darkness like that house.
Oh, that's horrible. If you felt like it was a darkness, that's horrible. My old house.
Unless it's the darkness, which having Justin Hawkins in your house is only ever going to be
it's
a
going to
bloody
be
good
a
time.
wild time, isn't it? And there would always be footsteps at a certain time of day along the landing, always. And there was you know, my drum kit. I've got my rack. I used to have it under the staircase, and sometimes I'd be in bed, and you know, like where we've got the fittings for stuff to go in, they clank against the actual tubing. Do you know what that means?
Yeah.
So you know, on a rack system, you've got hollow tubing.
Yeah.
And you have the brace that goes there, and it's tied with a key. So when you take that out, it goes ding ding when it moves. Yeah. So at night, I'd be in bed, and there'd be no reason, and then you'd hear clink 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 along the pipe.
At my sister's old house, the darkness would be so welcome. Absolutely. But my sister's old house, they heard one night. They heard what sounded like the entire kitchen just being torn apart, stuff smashing, doors going. They came downstairs. Everything was normal. Some very odd things happened in that house. A white light. He passed away sadly a few years back. My sister's old boyfriend. But after he passed away, my mum saw someone in our kitchen. Like, she came in through the front door, and you know, through our front door, you can see through the window into the kitchen. She saw somebody basically just walk and turn off to go towards the sink. So literally, if you were looking, ladies and gentlemen, at that back wall, somebody just come like that and just go off round the corner. And I was upstairs, and she called me down, and I walked out into the kitchen, and the weirdest, you know, one of that real. Everything goes on end, that sort of like heightened sense of something doesn't feel quite right here. So I've had that a few times, some very interesting situations where you start getting that feeling. And
when my dad got cancer and died, and sorry, I know we need to finish doing
That's
that.
all right.
Last one. So the Mary Curie nurses would come in at night because so when he was going through the last couple of weeks, he was in a coma and he was just lying in bed, and he'd have to be changed and stuff like that. So I used to sit with him at night because
you don't sleep anyway.
Yeah, so I'd sit with him at night, and so he'd be, my mum would be sleeping in the bed. He was in a coma. He was just getting ready to die, and I'd be in the bedroom. Missy and I were together at that time, so she was there, and the Mary Curie nurse was there, and there was like a street light outside, so she would be by the window reading her book, the Mary Curie nurse reading her book, and the landing light would be on. So if you think the room's like this, there's a window here with the street light, there's a door there, and there's a landing light that's on. So there's light coming from that landing there. And my cousin had come over from Australia to kind of just stay with Dad while he was about to pass away. So one night, I you know me, when I'm thinking about things, I'll be pacing.
You're always
pacing around. So I was pacing around, and I thought I saw it. So what I saw, I looked at the window, and I saw my cousin's head, right, on a really long neck, just come up by the window like this, right, and then it went like that. And so I stopped, and I kind of said, like, this is going to sound really weird, but I just saw my cousin's head come up by the window. So we're on the second story.
Yeah.
Or first story, you'd say.
Rein your neck in, cuz.
And he was sleeping downstairs in the front room. And so the Mary Curie nurse said...
So did he die at home?
Yeah, my dad did.
Yeah.
I think he died the next day. Oh no, he died the day after. So the Mary Curie nurse was like, well, I've been by the window. If anything came here, I would have seen it. Missy said, well, I didn't see anything. And of course, the light coming in from the thing. So if anyone had walked through the door, we would have seen them.
Yeah.
So I just thought, I thought, that's just a weird thing.
I don't sleep, and this is what happens.
That's just a weird thing. All right, fair enough. Anyway, so the next morning, so I was still with Dad because I had to. So I would like wash him and stuff when.
Yeah.
So he was in a coma. I'd have to wash him down and whatever. So in the morning, Missy went down and she was making coffee for everyone, and my cousin got up and sort of came into the kitchen and went, "Oh, hi, Missy." And she was like, "Oh, hi. Nothing happened last night. He's still just, like she's saying he hadn't passed away. Nothing happened." And my cousin went, "Yeah, I came and checked on you in the night, and you were all just, nothing was happening." And she said, "We didn't see you come in." He said, "Oh no, I came up." Like he said, actually, it was a bit weird. I came up, but like normally your stairs creak. They weren't creaking. I just kind of felt like I was floating up. And so I came through the doorway and just popped my head around the door, and you were, the lady was reading, you were reading, and Simon was pacing up and down. So I thought, oh, everything's okay. So I came back down. And she said,
out of body experience.
That's the weirdest thing, because that's exactly how we were at the time when I had said,
yeah,
I saw his face there, and he hadn't come, because if he had come through the doorway, you goosed up. I've goosed you. I've goosed you good. If he had stood in the doorway,
it would have shown a shadow.
There would have been a shadow. There's no way that we wouldn't have seen him come through the doorway. So just a weird
That's
thing.
So bizarre.
Again, because he independently had confirmed the experience independently, rather than like, oh, we saw your head by the way. She didn't say anything, because it was just kind of like, it's a silly thing, weird stuff. Weird shit.
That is really.
Stuart Walsh says the body is a machine. I think of the brain as a kind of radio. It's tuned to Stuart for me. When the brain dies, the thought, and that's really interesting, and the energy is still there. If you imagine listening to a radio, if I smash the radio, the station continues to broadcast.
Yeah, that is an interesting thought.
That actually ties in with some of the spiritualist belief that you have your higher self, but that's another story for another day. Leanne Thompson says you've just unlocked the memory of the floating dreams. Weird. Ooh.
Oh, my button didn't work. I was trying to do a ding or something like that. Like, you have unlocked the next level, floating dreams.
We'll have to have another conversation about this. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. What really interesting stories.
Yeah, this is one of those that we could just be here for another hour.
But it is interesting, though, because there's no way to really say one way to others. There's no proof that it doesn't exist. There's no proof that it does exist, really, because physics just doesn't have the tools to be able to test that, in the same way as physics didn't have the tools to test quantum theory, and so it was poo-pooed and thought it was a load of rubbish by all the experts in the field, and then that changed.
We want to get a friend of Carrie's, lovely Dion, who has been in the chat occasionally, sort of in the past. She does tarot readings, so we'd like to get her in, but would really like to sort of get her in to do a reading for someone that she's never met or knows anything about.
That'd be interesting.
I think that'd be really cool just to see, because Carrie said apparently her tarot readings are very good, and so it's not to disprove anyone or to say, oh look, it doesn't. It's to genuinely see.
Yeah, just as an experiment.
Yeah, I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah.
So we'll have to go to a spiritualist.
I'm so glad I goosed you.
Yeah. You and who was it? Was it T? No, who else? Was it TL who got? No, it was Kit.
And also, I think was it Kit or was it? Yeah, it was.
Oh no, it was. Was it Sam? We're talking about the daughter who the guy standing next to her with no mouth.
Oh shit! Yes.
Yeah, that got me.
She goosed you good.
You did. I've been fully goosed. There she is. Thank you, Samantha.
See you there. Yeah, I'm at the Skipper on Saturday, I think, and Summer with Sons. That's with Saviours and Sons of Southpaw on the Friday. Where are you this weekend?
I am at the. Is it the Rose in
the Garden?
It's just outside Ipswich. They literally have like one. There's something. Oh, the ship. Hang on. It is the. Come on, brain. Where are we? Shotley Rose. There we go.
All right.
Really lovely. They have like a caravan, sort of like little festival every
nice.
year, and they've asked us back like 3. This will be like 3rd time in a row.
Excellent.
Yeah, they're absolutely lovely. Really.
Are you doing a
awesome.
Queen set or a normal
Just
set?
normal.
Oh,
And
good.
then we are at the Boar's Head in Braintree on Saturday.
Sometimes it can be good night.
We've got a lot
You
of
always have a good night.
yeah,
don't you?
we've got a lot of friends who come, so that's always
Yeah.
cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. It's been
how much fun.
bloody pleasure to spend some time with you this evening. We always do it. So next time we do a paranormal one, I'll do some. We'll set them.
We'll dress the sets.
Yes, we'll come here as Victorian gents in a full séance mode. Yeah. All right, everyone. Take care. Much love to you all, and thank you again for TL for the donation.
Yeah, that's so
you
kind,
sir,
Tim.
are
Thank
just
you.
a beautiful, beautiful man.
And,
Interesting show.
Thank you all so much for joining in. It's really interesting hearing all your thoughts and stories as well. And
Yeah, I'm sure there's
especially that Mike got goosed.
the next
Mike got goosed
paranormal
good.
one we'll all unload our stories. We'll have a big old story fest.
Have a good week and be kind.
Yes. Live long and prosper. If you don't live long, haunt those you love, but in a nice way.
In a
Don't be
caressing
all
way.
creepy. Don't be creepy with it.
Would you come back and haunt someone?
I don't know if I'd just do it just to be annoying.
Yeah, because I think your personality is cheeky, so you'd
Yeah.
find it quite a jeep.
Yeah, I would literally just come back and haunt you, and it would just be you'd just be laying in
Tickling
bed.
my tits.
Yeah, you'd just be like, yeah.
You
My
just fuck off.
at gigs, I'd be slightly detuning your pet.
Just turn the volume down a touch.
All right, I know exactly what I'd do. I'd make your lead channel on your phone so fucking loud that you go bang. Ah!
You don't know. I tend to do that anyway.
Fair point.
The amount of times I've not turned that on properly. Anyway.
Anyway, lovely to see you all, especially
Thank you
you,
so much.
Kit and Leanne. Lovely to spend the evening with you.
Yeah, thank you for sending the picture, man. You've done fantastic.
Oh, he did send one more. Hang on. There was another one. A guitar one, apparently. Let us quickly find that. Here's a musical before and after. The same. Yeah, God, look at the difference.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. That's a Luke as well. That's a lovely guitar.
There you go. So Simon has honed in on the real interest of the picture.
I'm terrible with gear. Oh, dear. Terrible with gear. Just as soon as I see gear, my eyes go, ooh.
Ooh, hello. All right, everyone. Take care.
Thanks
Much
a lot.
love to you all. Bye-bye.
That was good fun, dude. Thank you, man.
It was for good fun. Well, I pressed the wrong button, so we're still live. But at least you know he's genuine. And he didn't slag you all off or anything. So we'll do that now. No, not really. Bye. They're all a bunch of bastards. Not really. Love you.
The only friends I've got.
Bye-bye, everyone. Take care.